I wanted to come on here and talk about this recent development that has come about involving this man in this picture by the name of Ted Wafer. Now, if you don't know who Ted Wafer is, well, his full name is Theodore, but they call him Ted. He's the one that killed Renisha McBride back in 2013. And he had a boatload of charges against him, and he was actually found guilty for the charges that he was hit with. And he was sentenced 15 to 30 years in prison for basically one of the biggest charges, which was the I believe it was the second degree murder, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to read it to be sure, and a couple of other charges. But what has recently come out in the last few days is that he is being resentenced for those crimes after the state Supreme Court had tossed a decision on the manslaughter charge, which means his sentence could be reduced from 15 to 30 years down to 12 to 20. Now, keep in mind, this man has been in jail since 2014. 10 years would be 2024. 2 more years he could be out, which is at 2026. First off, I think that the first sentencing that he got, 15 to 30, was too low. He, in my opinion, should have got way longer than that. But we know how it goes. But if you've noticed that a lot of these judges have been real lenient with a lot of these PC individuals. Look at Regina Chu, most recently with Kim Potter. She should have got way longer than 16 months in jail with an additional timing or a third of her sentence being done at home or with an ankle monitor on. Look at Jason Van Dyke. He was supposed to get 6 years, and he only did half of the time, if that was the 3 years, and now he's out. Jason Van Dyke is officially a free man. He is out of prison. Of course, he's probably in some kind of protective program because, you know, the people know what he looked like. So they probably have him in some off location with a whole new identity because they already know the people would find him if he went back to his old life or back to wherever it is where he came from. But they've been very lenient when it comes to these individuals. And I'm going to piggyback on something Harvey said. When it comes to these judges, those are the ones at the end of the day who make these decisions like this, because all the attorneys can do is bring it before them. At the end of the day, the judges are the ones who have the final say. And their final say seems to always line up with them saying something along the lines of, we're going to allow them to have a lower sentencing, or we're going to find a way to release them on whatever it is they choose to release them on. Theodore Wafer, the man who shot and killed Renisha McBride in 2013 as she sought help after crashing her car, will get a new sentencing hearing. That decision came down from the Michigan State Supreme Court on Wednesday. This was a question of whether Mr. Wafer's double jeopardy rights were violated by being convicted of 2 things, second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter based on one act, said Jessica Zimbelman, State Appellate Defender Office. The state Supreme Court says they were in throughout Wafer's manslaughter conviction, which means he could end up spending less time in prison. So keep in mind, he had 2 charges to him that he was convicted of, second degree murder and involuntary manslaughter, and they threw out the second one. Imagine if they had enough juice to want to throw out the first one. That man would just walk out of the jail a free man altogether. Zimbelman is a managing attorney with the State Appellate Defender Office, which represented Wafer. We anticipate that Mr. Wafer will continue. He will receive a prison sentence, although it will most likely be lower than what he is currently serving for the 2 convictions combined. The manslaughter conviction increased the amount of time Wafer would spend in prison. He was sentenced in September 2014. Wafer is serving a 15 to 30 year sentence for killing McBride. Now, in light of the Supreme Court's decision, he could be resentenced to anywhere from 12 to 20 years in prison. Our daughter can't walk around anymore, said Monica McBride, Renisha's mother. She can't talk, she can't breathe, she can't enjoy her family. What makes them think he should be able to be out and enjoy his? I don't believe that he got enough time for the murder of our daughter, said Walter Simmons, Renisha's father. I just hope the judge does not reduce any of the time that he received. And that is what the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office will push for. In a statement, this office said Ted Wafer was sentenced to 15 to 20 years for second-degree murder. Prosecutor Worthy believes the same 15 to 30 year sentence is appropriate and is what we will argue for at the resentencing hearing. The State Appellate Defender's Office said Ted Wafer's resentencing hearing will likely take place a few months from now. Renisha McBride's parents say they will be in court for it. Well, we should see what happens. So there it is. And I'm here thinking that they did this resentencing already, but they said it's a few months from now. Hopefully they do not resentence him to this lower time period. Now, the unfortunate part is they were successful in tossing out the involuntary manslaughter conviction. So they got the first part complete. The second part is, will the sentencing stay the same, or will they reduce it down to that 12 to 20? Because it's always a thing of whenever people like this kill black people, whenever they feel that there's a lesson that they have learned, or there's a lesson to be learned from this, and that they have learned that lesson, then somehow they have been rehabilitated and they're free to go. Or they'll lower the sentence for the chance for them to go out and thrive. They'll never learn. And who are you to determine that they've learned? This guy killed this individual when they were just seeking help. Shot and killed her. And all she was looking for was some help. She didn't ask to die that day. That's not a death sentence last time I checked, but this guy decided that it was. And he's complaining, I should say, or his attorneys are complaining that he didn't receive a fair trial. Are you kidding me? In America, of him being found guilty of a crime like that against a black person, I would say the trial was pretty damn fair, if you ask me, considering how many people such as himself have done stuff like this before several times in the past and gotten away with it, in which we would definitely deem that as being unfair. He wasn't railroaded. And my thing is, why are they just now arguing this unless they've been building up at this for quite some time? See, the thing is, they went for the lower charge. They knew they couldn't get that second degree one off. That would have been a stretch. They couldn't get that one off for anything. So they said, let's go for the lowest one. And they were successful with getting it tossed out. So now they got to fight tooth and nail and hope that they don't give him this new sentence. But we shall see. But I won't hold my breath. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you are new. Make sure you go ahead and hit that bell to be notified every time I upload a new video or go live.